थोरो क्विक रिव्यू ऐं सिग्नल्स कहिड़ा हूंदा आहिनि, सिस्टम्स कहिड़ा हूंदा आहिनि, उन्हनि जी प्रॉपर्टीज़ कहिड़ियूं हूंदियूं आहिनि. सिग्नल जी डेफिनेशन छा आहे, केरु ॿुधाईंदो? कैरियर ऑफ इंफॉर्मेशन. सही आहे, गुड, वेरी गुड. एनीवन एल्स? फिजिकल क्वांटिटी वेरिंग इंफॉर्मेशन. ठीकु आहे. कैरिंग इंफॉर्मेशन फंक्शन दैट. ओके, फंक्शन दैट कैरी. पाण पहिरीं अचूं था डेफिनेशन कहिड़ी ते, जेका ख़ुशबू ॾिनी, कैरियर ऑफ इंफॉर्मेशन. मूंखे लॻे थो टू द पॉइंट आहे न. कैरियर ऑफ इंफॉर्मेशन, फिजिकल क्वांटिटी कैरिंग इंफॉर्मेशन. ऑफ कोर्स, when physical quantity changes, that change is actually information. We need that. There is no change, then there is no information. So something is changing, and that change we need to know. That is the information. If a voltage in a wire is changing with time, then it is carrying information. But if it's not changing with time, it's not carrying information. There is a voltage which changes sinusoidally. Nurasan, what should I write? Sinusoidal function कीअं हूंदो? Of t is equal to छा लिखां?
A sin omega t.
A times sin of omega t. हीअं लिखूं भला. Omega is equal to 2 pi f. Omega is equal to 2 pi f. So cos omega t लिखां या sin omega t लिखां?
Sir, representation the mana appearance same thing बाकी हू cosine signal थी वेंदो.
हाँ, एक्चुअली आई सेट साइनोसॉइडल. साइनोसॉइडल में ॿई ईंदा आहिनि न. साइन बि साइनोसॉइडल आहे, कॉस बि साइनोसॉइडल आहे. सो बोथ आर करेक्ट. पर हाणे हिननि ॿिन्ही मां स्टैंडर्ड कहिड़ो आहे? स्टैंडर्ड कॉस आहे. नॉर्मली जेको रेफरेंस सिग्नल आहे उहो कॉस आहे. पर हाणे हिन में इंफॉर्मेशन आहे, हिन में का इंफॉर्मेशन आहे?
A and F.
See, this does not carry any information because there is no randomness. It does not carry information because I already know this. For example, आऊं तव्हांखे चवां थो त x of t जी वैल्यू मालूम करियो at t equal to 1. त तव्हां मालूम करे वेंदा न?
जी सर.
कीअं मालूम कंदा?
सर तव्हां जो t 1 आहे, एम्पलीट्यूड खे बि मां 1 कंसीडर कयां थी, त 1 मल्टीप्लाई बाय cos ओमेगा.
Simple answer is by putting the values.
जी सर.
values put कंदा, f जी वैल्यू पुट कंदा, t जी वैल्यू पुट कंदा, ऐं a जी वैल्यू बि पुट कंदा.
सर तव्हां f कोन ॿुधाई, तव्हां सिर्फ टाइम ॿुधायो.
Yeah, I told you value of time. I also told her value of omega. Omega जी वैल्यू मूं 2 पाए चई हुई. मूं चयो omega is equal to 2 पाए, ऐं तव्हां a जी वैल्यू 2 खणो, t जी वैल्यू 1 खणो. फार्मूला में पुट कंदा ऐं वैल्यू मिली वेंदी. So you put the value of a, any value, for example 2, it is given, and omega जी value given है 2 pi, तो omega जी value 2 pi विझंदा, t जी value 1 है. माना you will know the value of x of t at t equal to 1. तो ही तो पाण के known है ना, this thing is known. हिन के 2 कयो है, ऐं हिन के पाण छा कयो है, 2 pi रखियो है ना. Now you just put the value of t. Value of t you put 1, x of 1 जी वैल्यू मिली वेंदी. x of 1 जी वैल्यू केतिरी थींदी? 2 थींदी. छाकाणि त ही सभु छा थी वेंदो? 1 थी वेंदो. हिकिड़ो सवाल आहे तव्हां सभिनी खां आहे, आई वांट टू नो x of 100 years. इहो मालूम करे ॾींदा मूंखे? x of 100 years कीअं ख़बर पवंदो? पाण कन्वर्ट कंदासीं 100 years के सेकंड्स में, पोइ उहा t जी वैल्यू पाण विझंदासीं. माना x of 100 years पाण खे ख़बर पइजी वेंदी. माना त x जी वैल्यू 100 सालनि खां पोइ छा हूंदी? You already know. I said you already know what will be the value of x of t after 100 years. Because you already know something, that is not a news. It is deterministic. So actually, signals are random and deterministic, but true signals are only random. Only for learning, we consider this thing as a signal. Only for learning signal processing, we call it periodic signal. But in true sense, see, if it is something physical, it is a signal. But if it is mathematical entity and if it is a function, you know, in the beginning, Motter said function that carry information. Now, Motter actually, if it is a function in mathematical sense, then it is not going to carry any information. Something defined mathematically will not change. It will not change. It is defined mathematically. So you can determine its value at any time. So that will not carry information. Something physical, any physical phenomena is not mathematically defined perfectly. For example, Zoha, this x of t resembles with what? In red color, x of t. Zoha, can you tell me it resembles with what? This function a cos of omega t. It is a mathematical model of what? Pendulum. Khushbu is right. It is a mathematical function of a mathematical approximation, mathematical model of pendulum. But see, it is approximation. Pendulum is defined mathematically using this function, but it is not perfect representation of pendulum. It is approximation to pendulum. Pendulum is a physical phenomena and it will be affected by some factors which we know. For example, factors do you know? Friction may change, means air, the ambience, the atmosphere may change little because you know air friction may change at any time. Yes. What else can change? Oscillatory behavior will change. Why? Why will it change? One possibility is air friction will change. Other possibility is temperature will change. Third possibility is gravity will change. Gravity may fluctuations. There can be fluctuations in gravity and there can be change in temperature. What happens if temperature changes? If temperature changes, then length of pendulum will change. Do you know that when temperature changes, things expand or contract? Yeah, thermal expansion. Pendulum जो जेको time period हुंदो आहे, वो उन जी length ते depend कंदो आहे. Pendulum जी जेका time period आहे, वो उन जी length ते depend कंदो आहे न. Then there are many other factors. For example, fluctuations in gravity. Can you predict? Can you predict the fluctuations in gravity? No, we cannot predict. Physical system itself has some factors affecting it with time, and some of those factors we cannot predict, and there may be some other factors which we don't know. They may also be affecting it. So in the physical world, there are several factors affecting a system, but system's behavior, therefore, you can never write accurately mathematically. But mathematical function is approximation to the real system, real signal. Real signal ji approximation hundi hai na, mathematical function. So mathematical function is only an approximation to the real thing, physical thing. Therefore, physical thing, physical quantity is real signal, but its mathematical approximation is not a signal because you know it does not carry information. For the sake of learning, we will say this is a signal and it is periodic signal. Periodic signal ji definition kenke khabar hai? Can someone tell me the definition of periodic signal? And it Sundas likhe pai repeats itself after a regular interval of time. Sundas, you are right. Zoa chati that completes and repeats for measurable time interval. ठीक है. Signal that repeats itself in equal time interval. ठीक है बोला. Repeats itself repeatable at specified interval. Regular intervals. Okay. पाण छा बच्चो? पाण चयो पे त ही है न signal types ॿुधाईंदा. Signal types कहिड़ियूं आहिनि? Signal properties ख़बर आहिनि? ॾिसो हिकिड़ो continuous time, discrete time. पाण continuous time पढ़िया, discrete time, continuous time last time पढ़िया हुआ. हिन दफ़े तव्हां discrete time signal processing पढ़ंदा ऐं even and odd and time limited, non time limited. अच्छा जिया चए थी right handed, left handed. ठीकु आहे. Deterministic, random, periodic, aperiodic. हाणे periodic जी definition तव्हां जेका मूंखे ॿुधाई न उहा सही कोन हुई न. उहा त लफ़्ज़नि में हुई पर मैथमेटिकल त कोन हुई. मैथमेटिकल त कोन हुई उहा डेफिनेशन. x of t is equal to x of t plus t for all t. Capital T is the time period. So it is periodic. अच्छा periodic signals तव्हां ॾिसी चुका आहियो. हाणे तव्हां कुझु ॿिया signals ॾिठा हुआ न जिनखे तव्हां singularity function signals चवंदा आहियो. Singularity function signals में छा छा ईंदो आहे? The first singularity function signal first कहिड़ो हूंदो आहे तव्हांजो? Unit pulse. हाणे पाण पढ़ंदासीं unit pulse. पहिरीं तव्हां पढ़ियो हो unit impulse. ही unit impulse है. साॻियो सिंबल है. T जी जाइ ते छा लिखंदासीं? हाँ, स्मॉल n कैपिटल T. जेको स्मॉल t है इहो कंटिन्यूअस टाइम है ऐं जेको स्मॉल n कैपिटल T है उहो डिस्क्रीट टाइम है. ही थी वियो तव्हांजो कंटिन्यूअस टाइम. ही डिस्क्रीट टाइम है. स्मॉल n कैपिटल T ऐं स्मॉल n कैपिटल T इज डिस्क्रीट टाइम. अच्छा T जी जाइ ते NT रखंदासीं त छा थींदो? कंटिन्यूअस टाइम सिग्नल डिस्क्रीट टाइम थी वेंदो. हाणे ही पंहिंजो आहे यूनिट स्टेप सिग्नल कंटिन्यूअस टाइम में ऐं यूनिट स्टेप सिग्नल डिस्क्रीट टाइम में. रैम्प कीअं थींदो? रैम्प हीअं लिखी सघूं था, ॿिए तरीक़े सां लिखी सघूं था, आउं तव्हांखे ॿुधाईंदुसि. ही यूनिट पल्स आहे. यूनिट पल्स सिग्नल हमेशह ज़ीरो हूंदो आहे. सिर्फ़ु हिकिड़ी जाइ ते नॉन ज़ीरो हूंदो आहे. कहिड़ी जाइ ते?
जिथे t 0 ईंदो आहे.
Unit pulse signal is always zero. It is non-zero only at one point. Which point is that?
n is equals to 0.
Unit impulse you have already studied in signals and systems.
Yes.
Unit impulse is always zero except at one point. Only on one point it is one. Which point is that?
T is equals to 0 for unit impulse.
T equal to 0 is only one point on which this signal is
1.
1. On every other point it is 0. But हिन दफ़े पाण यूनिट पल्स सिग्नल पिया सिखूं. यूनिट पल्स सिग्नल is not defined in continuous time. It is defined in discrete time. Discrete time में तव्हां हीअं बि लिखी सघो था. Discrete time में you can write it this way or you can neglect capital T. If you neglect capital T, you write this way. See here I have neglected capital T. What is capital T?
The time period.
Time period.
No, it is not time period. Okay, I changed this symbol. I do not write capital T. I have changed the symbol. Avoid confusion. It is the sampling time. Here, this is the time between two consecutive samples. This sample is 1. This sample is 0, this sample is 0, this sample is 0, then next sample will also be 0, then next sample will also be 0, and so on so forth. All the samples are 0 on the right, all the samples on the left are 0. Only at t equal to 0 a sample is 1. So if I don't want to show this as function of time, I can also show this as function of n. N is 0 here. N is 0 here and n is 1 here. हिते n छा आहे? 1. Next n जी value कहिड़ी आहे? What is value of n here?
2.
What is value of n here?
3.
What is value of n here?
Minus 1.
What is value of n here? Minus 2. What is n? N is the sample index. सही है?
Yes.
And he sub chan in black color. What are these in black color? These are samples of the signal. इतने sample की value कड़ी है?
0.
0.
0.
0. 1.
1.
0. 0. 0. It is 0 here. 0, 0, 1, then 0, 0, 0. So on n equal to minus infinity to minus 1, it is 0. From 1 to infinity, it is 0. Only at n equal to 0, it is 1. So only on one value of n, when n equal to 0, it is 1. Elsewhere, it is 0. So this is unit pulse signal. If you know the value of sampling time, the time between two samples, then you can write this value. You can write this. But if you don't know, you can ignore and simply write delta of n is equal to 1 when n equal to 0, 0 elsewhere. त हिकिड़ो कंटिन्यूअस टाइम में तव्हां पढ़ियो हो सिग्नल, उहो हो यूनिट इम्पल्स सिग्नल। यूनिट इम्पल्स पढ़ियो हो न, ही यूनिट पल्स आहे। इट इज डिस्क्रीट टाइम वर्जन unit impulse signal, step signal. So this is not the time period, this is the sampling time between two consecutive samples. ही जेको तव्हां पढ़ी आया आहियो यूनिट स्टेप सिग्नल, उहो कहिड़ो हो, कंटिन्यूअस टाइम में हो। ही छा आहे, डिस्क्रीट
Discrete
टाइम
time.
में आहे। So it is 1 when n equal to 0 or greater than 0, it is 1, and for negative values of n it is 0. These are positive values of n and these are negative values of n. For positive values it is 1, and for n equal to 0 it is 1. For negative values of n it is 0. It is unit step signal. Yes, Zoa, you are right. The signal that you get with unit step signal in continuous time multiplied by the impulse train, you get unit step in discrete time. We have multiplied the continuous time step signal with impulse train. Ramp कीअं हूंदो आहे? This is ramp signal, and I represent it as function of n only, simply n. I take it as function of n. Okay, I neglect ts. When n equal to 0, its amplitude should be 0. When n equals 1, its amplitude is 1. When n equals 2, its amplitude is also 2. When n equals 3, its amplitude is 3. When n equals 4, its amplitude is 4. When n equals 5, its amplitude is 5. And these dots show, and so on. And before n equal to 0, for negative values of n, it is 0. So R of n is equal to n when n is equal to 0 or greater than 0. But when n is negative, the value is 0. It's called unit ramp. Now, what is the slope of this signal? 1. The slope is 1 because for 1 unit time change, the amplitude change is 1. So delta t is 1. Delta of R is also 1. Change in amplitude is 1. Change in unit time is 1. This derivative becomes 1. So slope is 1. Because the slope is 1, we call it unit ramp. Rukaya, why do we call it unit ramp? Because its slope is 1. Why do we call this unit step? Because its amplitude is 1. Why we call this unit pulse? Because its strength is 1. Pulse strength 1 hai. Okay, wish you best of luck.